For some reason, people are unironically angry over Project Eve's main character being moderately attractive. These truly sad individuals are crying about a game because a bunch of pixels on a screen are apparently too attractive, and the reason they are doing this is the virtue signal. But if you think about it for more than 2 seconds whilst using your brain, the reasoning behind most of these comments is truly backwards. These people will scream body positivity whilst attacking pixels on a screen for being too attractive. In this scenario, the woke people have become incels. Instead of sticking to their belief of body positivity, they want to cry about a bunch of pixels on a screen being too attractive, because God forbid a video game character doesn't have a stereotypical witch as its main character. And that's not even the most ironic thing about this situation. The most ironic thing is that the pixels on a screen these people are crying about aren't even insanely attractive. The main character of Project Eve just looks like your typical skinny woman. Only difference being is that she's in a skin tight bodysuit and it fits the game's theme. And yet still, for some unknown reason, people like Alex from Digital Foundry have been making some truly terrible takes on the situation. But before we get into the tweets, let's look at a clip from one of Digital Foundry's videos, where Alex says some very questionable things.
The one thing, I know you were talking about the character from a bygone era.
Yes, attractive women definitely are from a bygone era. I've never seen any attractive women anywhere in recent video games. The fact this guy thinks mildly attractive women in video games is a bygone era is astounding. The saddest part about this is the fact he's trying to be so insanely pretentious while seemingly demonizing a character simply because of the way they look.
Because like with the camera angles chosen, it just felt like this game seems like a game that came out in like 002 in terms of its, like character design. It's like a bit old and not flattering.
All I'm hearing from this is incel speak. How dare there be attractive women in my video games? Like, come on, touch some grass already. These pixels on your screen being attractive really shouldn't be able to be considered distracting in a bad way by you. In the same way, not every character needs to be attractive, not every character needs to be ugly. Saying the character model isn't flattering as well is pretty strange. I don't see an issue with the outfit or anything when it comes to the character model, other than in some situations it did look out of place because of how vibrant the outfit is, although it does help to make your character stand out in the hectic fights you see in the gameplay trailer. But apart from that, there's nothing unflattering about this.
I don't think for a modern audience, in comparison to something like Forspoken, which has, yes, it has a much more realistic looking character designs. It's not these hyper proportioned something or another's, but it also seemed, I don't know, a bit more grounded in a way that I found much more appealing.
What the fuck does hyper-proportioned mean? Also, no shit, Forspoken won't have a similar outfit for its main character. Those two games have clearly got different art styles as well as different artistic visions. It's like complaining that Yakuza and Forspoken don't have the same art style, simply due to them both being third-person games. Let developers have different visions for their game. A bunch of pixels on your screen being seen as attractive won't affect anyone, unless they're an incel or so woke to the point they've done a full 180 and become an incel. Pixels being considered attractive isn't a bad thing. Now, how this guy responded to the entire situation as utterly pathetic is unbelievable. Interesting to see how many commenters are highly invested in the story and cultural reasons for the main character design. In Project Eve, a game whose trailer had 3 slow-mo crotch ass shots in the first 24 seconds. I mean, the fact you were so distracted and offended by 3 ass shots really says more about you than anyone else. Normal people can see that and not be bothered by it at all because it is literally just a bunch of pixels on your screen. Also, I find the air quotes around cultural incredibly strange and highly questionable. I'm not sure if you're somehow unaware, Alex, but yes, Eastern video game developers typically don't share the same character design as Western video games. There is absolutely a cultural tie to why those pixels on your screen look the way they do, and the only reason you are questioning that is because you're so ignorant to the point you can't realize this. Getting a big lol out the random comments here. Western liberal soy boys want to ban sexy women and sex in games because of puritanical beliefs. Clearly that is what this tweet says. Get better at reading, okay? I mean, even if that isn't what the tweet is saying directly, it sure as hell is implied, and you straight up said this shit in the clip of the Digital Foundry video I showed earlier. You are literally complaining that an attractive group of pixels is an attractive group of pixels. You seem to want to paint everyone responding to you as ignorant whilst you are actively ignoring the obvious and undeniable justifiable cultural reasons behind the character design for Project Eve. People saying this is just a Western gaming genre spurging for no reason are absolutely correct. That is exactly what you've been doing. As someone who grew up in Germany and its draconian treatment of video game content, I'd expect you to have a better perspective. What's the harm here? Are you actually buying into the X game leads to X in life argument? Then we better put Doom back on the index. You need to get better at reading. Since when did I make a moralistic claim to ban/censor/ anything akin to the index? In the clips I showed earlier and the clips that started this whole debacle. Just because that wasn't in those tweets, it doesn't mean you never made that type of argument. And it's an insane straw man to say the very least. Those shots aside, why do Japanese developers do this? The gameplay looks pretty cool. I'm keeping an eye on it. The developers are not Japanese. Love to break it to you, but not everything with an Asian character is Japanese. There could be harm in fetishizing a class of people. This would be fine in my opinion if the point of the game with the fetish. There are plenty of these on Steam, but this game aims to be mainstream game for a major platform. At the minimum, Sony should not have featured it in stream. Wait a minute, so in your logic it's fine to have attractive women in games if that's the only point of them, but not if that isn't the main focus, because it may fetishize a group of people? What the fuck is wrong with you? A game that is solely designed to fetishize people is definitely going to do that to a higher extent than a game that merely features an attractive character. The fact this person is so pressed over the possibility of Asian women being fetishized by this game is hilarious, because it's made by a Korean developer. Saying the game shouldn't have been featured on stream because of an attractive character is purely absurd. I wasn't sure if she should be fighting monsters or having OnlyFans. Her exaggerated physique is okay, but all of that other stuff wasn't really necessary. I'm sure the ponies will come riding in to defend the game. Nothing of her design seems to be exaggerated. Just because she's not ugly, that doesn't mean she's exaggerated. The character looked like she belonged in a Star Ocean game or as an adult-sized doll. Very generic, but you could slap Dante or Bayonetta, same risque character as Eve, and it would be leaps better. They should go back, tone down the ass shine, or just make a character creator. You're acting as if the only spot on her body that shines is her ass, when that isn't true. Her entire suit is shiny because guess what? Outfits like those usually aren't non-reflective, and right now developers love adding lens flare to every aspect of their games. That was the part I really hated about the trailer. The character design is so yesterday in fan service. Nobody needs that, including the ass shots. The world itself and combat looked fun, so how about a normal character, not a sex fantasy? I really don't get how these people think the character design is so yesterday. It's literally just a woman in a bodysuit. If that unironically offends you, then you seriously need to go outside and touch some grass. In fact, you may need to go a step further and not just touch it, but roll around in it for hours on end. Hopefully by then you may come to realize that pixels on a screen from a video game are not as big as an issue as you are making them out to be. And why the hell would they make the character model normal when the rest of the game isn't normal either? We may want our avatars in game to be superhuman as escapism, but this isn't it. Basically softcore porn. I felt awkward watching the trailer. You guys got it right. This is straight out of 2002. Based on fat Aloy backlash, there is probably an audience of sweaty bedroom dwellers. Both sides of that coin are equally as pathetic as each other. Anyone complaining Aloy looks slightly more chubby is probably a basement dwelling man-child. And anyone complaining that a collection of pixels on a screen is too attractive is also probably a basement dwelling man-child. If moderately attractive women make you feel awkward, I'd love to break it to you, but that's not an issue with the game, but rather an internal issue with yourself. Personally, I am an ugly girl in real life and it depresses me constantly. I say at least like to be cute in my escapism. I hate how recent games I've had to select the least ugly character as opposed to the most cute one. The overwhelming majority of games have attractive protagonists, like nearly all of them, so this complaint seems insincere, as does your point about Aloy prior. If you don't like the handful of games daring to go different for diversity, play the countless others that don't. This type of logic doesn't at all make sense. Diversity would mean that both ugly and attractive characters coexist, not that one or the other gets excluded. Games like Project Eve having attractive characters is not an issue. A developer shouldn't have to purposely make their character ugly or attractive. They should be allowed to do whatever they want so long as it's in line with the law. I mean, it's okay to have your own opinion, but I have an opinion that goes against what the fanboys of either console think. How dare you? /s. You say this in the replies to a tweet getting triggered over people having different opinions. Also, this situation has nothing to do with the console wars. Project Eve is not a PlayStation exclusive. It's coming to PC as well. The first minute I saw the trailer, I called her Budget Bayo meets knockoff 2B. I can see where Alex is coming from. Her sexualization without any meaningful design sticks out like a sore thumb when everything looks to have so much more intent in its design. She seems bland. I know I myself didn't even notice the butt shots until Alex pointed them out, and from the looks of it, the majority of people had the same reaction to the trailer as I did. In no way, shape or form is her outfit so sexualized to the point it sticks out from the rest of the game. Even if it did, how is that a problem? I find it pretty hilarious how this form of progressivism has essentially turned into puritanism. Why the fuck do you care if a couple thousand pixels on your screen show some skin? Are you going to cry about the fact you can see a fully naked woman in Cyberpunk 2077 as well? I know for a fact you won't, and I know for a fact Alex won't. Now we've finally come to the end of this video, as I simply can't be asked to go through any more tweets like these. So with all that being said, please do not forget to do all the things YouTubers love to beg you to do, aka check out my Discord server, follow me on Twitter, as well as like, comment and subscribe. So I'll see you all in the next video.